The Cleveland Browns are officially treating the NFL salary cap like a suggestion rather than a rule, and what Andrew Berry is doing right now should be illegal in at least 30 states. While the rest of the league is playing checkers, the Browns are playing high-stakes mental gymnastics with the books, and it's creating a massive open loop for the upcoming season. How is it possible that a team buried under the most controversial contract in sports history suddenly has tens of millions of dollars to burn on a free agency spending spree? If you think the Browns are headed for a rebuild, you haven't been paying attention to the absolute masterclass in financial engineering happening behind the scenes in Berea. Before we dive into how the Browns are essentially printing their own money, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. Is Andrew Berry a general manager or a certified magician? Seriously, how does he keep doing this? We all know the shadow that has been hanging over this franchise, the Deshaun Watson deal. It was supposed to be the contract that anchored this team to the bottom of the AFC North for a decade. But instead of sinking, the Browns are currently floating on a $21 million cushion of cap space. The latest move that has everyone's jaw on the floor involves Tytus Howard. The Browns just locked him down with a 2-year, $45 million extension, but the way the numbers are structured is pure insanity. By lowering his 2026 cap hit, Berry has managed to find money that didn't exist 24 hours ago. The strategy here is brilliant but risky. They are paying these guys the league minimum and base salary for the next 3 years. So, where is the money actually going? It's all being converted into signing bonuses and option bonuses. We're talking about an $18.4 million bonus in 2027 and another $14.3 million in 2028. It's a pay-me-later scheme that allows Cleveland to act like the richest team in the league right now. When you look at Tytus Howard's contract, his actual salary for this upcoming season is only $1.3 million. That is pennies for a player of his caliber. This is how you build a roster while the Watson contract is still eating up space. Speaking of which, the light at the end of the tunnel is finally visible. We are almost done with the heavy lifting of that Watson deal. This is the final stretch, and the front office is acting like the cap is a complete myth. But wait until you hear how much money the owner is actually sitting on to make these guarantees possible. You can say whatever you want about Jimmy Haslam. People have criticized his decision-making and his patience for years. If we're being honest, he's probably a mid-tier owner, somewhere around the 15th or 17th best in the NFL. But there is one thing you cannot deny: the man is absolutely loaded. We are talking about a net worth that fluctuates between $8.7 billion and $10.3 billion. To put that into perspective, because a billion is a number that's hard to wrap your brain around, a million seconds is about 12 days. A billion seconds is 32 years. Haslam has 10 of those. When you have that kind of old-school oil and gas money, you can guarantee contracts that other owners simply can't afford to escrow. That's why the Browns are able to lure free agents to Cleveland. They aren't just selling a vision, they are pulling out a massive checkbook and writing numbers that make players' heads spin. On top of the owner's deep pockets, the NFL gave Cleveland a massive gift this year. The salary cap adjustment handed the Browns an extra $17.8 million bonus. That was the third highest adjustment in the entire league. Between Berry's math and the NFL's extra cash, the Browns are currently flush. Comment challenge: who is the real MVP of the Browns front office right now? Is it Andrew Berry for the math, or Jimmy Haslam for the money? Drop a name below. They've already started spending that found money, and the latest signing is a move that went under the radar but might be the most important depth piece of the offseason. The Browns just finalized a 1-year deal with Kaise Davis worth up to $3 million. Now, if you look at the stat sheet, you might not see much. 1.5 sacks in his career. That doesn't exactly scream superstar. But if you watch the tape from his 17 starts with the 49ers last year, you'll see a man who was an absolute mountain in the run game. Kaise Davis is a pure run stuffer. He's the guy who takes on 2 blockers so the linebackers can fly in and make the play. Remember what happened last year when Malik Collins went down? The defense fell apart. The run defense became a sieve. You cannot rely on just 1 or 2 guys in the trenches. By adding Davis to a room that already has Graham and Collins, the Browns are building a rotation that can survive the grueling AFC North schedule. It's a sneaky, cheap signing that proves the Browns are prioritizing the dirty work positions. But don't think for a second that the spending spree is over, because there is a massive name currently flirting with Cleveland on social media. Is DeAndre Hopkins coming to the 216? If you follow him on X, the signs are starting to look pretty obvious. Hopkins has been incredibly active lately, and it feels like he's trying to remind the league that he's still that guy. He's tweeting about his red zone productivity and how he never complains about his snaps. I actually did some digging, real investigative work here. In late 2025, he barely tweeted once a month. Suddenly, in March, he's posting every couple of days. He's creating buzz because he knows the market is moving. At 33 years old, he isn't the WR1 he was in his prime, but he's still a weapon. Last year he put up 330 yards and 2 touchdowns in limited action, but the acrobatic catches are still there. Did you see that one-handed snag against the Bills? That was vintage D-Hop. Think about the mentorship he could provide to a young guy like Isaiah Bond, who the Browns are almost certainly eyeing in the draft. Hopkins has a market value of about $1.48 million right now. That is a total steal for a guy who had a 1,000-yard season as recently as 2023 with the Titans. If he follows Todd Monken over from Baltimore to Cleveland, this offense becomes terrifying. But even if they sign a veteran like Hopkins, the plan for the draft is already set in stone, and it involves a complete overhaul of the offensive line. Andrew Berry has been very clear, they are modeling their offseason after what the Bears did last year. That means they are signing veterans, trading for established talent, and then using the draft to find the future. The Browns have already brought in Zion Johnson, traded for Tytus Howard, and added Elgton Jenkins. The biggest hole left is at left tackle. It is a dire need. While some fans want a big splash like Taylor Decker, I don't see the Browns spending $20 million there when they can use the draft. I am willing to guarantee right now, put it in ink, the Browns are drafting a left tackle in the first or second round. Keep an eye on Monroe Freeling. If the Browns stay at pick 6 or do a slight trade down, Freeling is the guy. The culture is shifting. You can feel it. When Elgton Jenkins walked into the facility for the first time, he didn't just say he was happy to be here. When a team manager told him the city would go crazy if they started winning, Jenkins stopped him and said, "We're about to do it. Expect it." That is a winning mentality coming from a guy who spent years with the Packers. He's not hoping for wins, he's expecting them. Then you have Zion Johnson coming in and immediately dabbing up Quinton Judkins, telling him, "I can't wait to block for you." That's the energy we need. Judkins is going to have a breakout year because this offensive line is being built specifically to bully people in the run game. Last year, the running backs were getting hit in the backfield on every snap. That ends now. Everything points back to Todd Monken. He is changing the culture of the Cleveland Browns. He isn't interested in a growing year or a rebuilding phase in his first season as head coach. He's aggressive, he's analytical, and he's demanding wins immediately. Usually, during the offseason, we're all optimistic because we aren't losing games yet. But this year feels different. The moves actually make sense. The money is being moved around with surgical precision. The roster is being filled with high-character veterans who have won elsewhere. The Browns are no longer the same old Browns trying to find their way, they are a team with a massive war chest and a coach who knows how to use it. We've lost some pieces, like Jerome Ford heading to the Commanders, but it doesn't feel like a loss when you see the depth we're building. The running back room with Judkins, Sampson, and Sanders is explosive. We are shoring up the trenches, finding veteran receivers for cheap, and preparing to dominate the draft. The offseason is far from over, but the foundation is the strongest it's been in decades. Andrew Berry has cleared the deck, Jimmy Haslam has opened the vault, and Todd Monken is ready to lead the charge. But I want to know what you think about the most controversial potential move on the table. Should the Browns actually pull the trigger on a veteran like DeAndre Hopkins to lead this young receiving core? Type Y for yes or N for no in the comments right now. I want to see where the dog pound stands on this. This team is moving fast, and the news isn't slowing down. If you want to stay ahead of every trade, every signing, and every draft rumor, make sure you're subscribed. I'm dropping daily videos all through the offseason because the grind never stops in Cleveland. Stay tuned, because I've got another massive Browns update coming your way later today.